Hey everyone, welcome to NADA and thank you for being here with us when we get ready to talk about all things AI and security and in the automotive space. At Tekion, when we talk about AI, our goal is to provide an AI-first customer engagement and dealership experience across the board. It doesn't matter where your customers are coming from. There are so many communication channels out there. They could reach out to you via a text message, a phone call, an email. They could even walk into your dealership. They might start in one of these communication channels and they can move on to another one. And it really doesn't matter where they start and where they are at any given time, because with Tekion AI platform, we maintain the context across all these different communication channels all the time. It also doesn't matter where they are in their car ownership journey. They may not even be in the market for a car. This is what we call the pre-purchase stage. But they might get hit by a sales campaign that you guys created, and they might start engaging with your dealership as part of that sales campaign. It could be the marketing cloud that you use to send these campaigns. It could be one of another Tekion products where you got them engaged in the first place with our AI products. We start tracking what their behavior is, what their interests are from the get-go. So let's assume they've gone through that initial pre-purchase experience. Now they're ready to come to your dealership. They are starting to ask you questions about the vehicle, the pricing. The next best action at this stage is for them to schedule a test drive and show up at your dealership. Let's say they come to your dealership, they test drive the car, now they're ready to buy the car. The amount of time it takes for them to go from, yes, I want to buy this car, to actually walking back home or driving back home with that car should be as minimal as possible. Because it's that boring, mundane paperwork from F&I to documentation and all of that. This is the stage where we call the buying experience from a Tekion AI platform perspective. Eventually, now that they have the car, they're going to bring it back for service sometime. If it's a car that they have leased, then there is equity in that car, lease returns, and the whole workflows around it. With Tekion, it doesn't matter where your customer is coming from a communication channel standpoint, because we keep track of that. It also doesn't matter where they are in their car ownership journey. Be it, the buying experience, the shopping experience, as a post-purchase experience. A Tekion AI agent will be the first one to act on their request, respond to them, provide a great consumer experience, and just when the timing is right for someone at your dealership to take over, Tekion AI agents will do a seamless handoff from where the conversation is to a human at your dealership. As you can imagine, this requires a lot of context. With Tekion AI, our belief is it's data powers AI, but context is what shapes insights, and security is what anchors responsibility. Once you have this end-to-end context, you can provide a much better consumer experience, because you know from the get-go what is it that they were looking for, what their likes are, what their wants are, what their needs are, and what is it that they're not looking for. All because you want to curate that experience for them in the most personalized fashion possible. We believe in AI you can trust and innovation you can count on. There are so many AI solutions out there. I'm sure you're being bombarded with options all over. But with data and this level of context comes the additional responsibility of making sure things are run in a very secure way. So we're going to spend a lot of time today talking about responsible AI and how Tekion makes it its priority when we build AI products. For that, let me invite Teza, our CIO and CISO, on stage. Teza, thank you.
Thank you. Me? Yeah. So, like Shiva said, a lot of focus around how we build safe and responsible AI. When Tekion started probably a decade ago, we were the first cloud-native platform. And what that means is we went in and we said, how do we be SOC compliant? How do we be ISO compliant? We looked at all. And as we transformed the company to become more of a AI native, cloud native, AI native company, we were like, how do we make sure this all is built in guardrail fashion? How do we make sure it's responsible? How do we not separate AI and security into two different buckets but bring them together? And we started this journey probably 12 to 15 months back. And a big part was looking at our AI fabric, looking at our data, and what does it take us to get that certification. If you, for context, there were only 35 companies across the globe who had the certification last year. We're probably the top 100 companies across every industry. So you can take large companies who sell LLM models, have this certification, and we are one of the first ones in the automotive space who have this certification. So that's what it's been the last couple of months for us as we went through an external audit. The ISO auditors came in, they certified us with this. It reinforces our commitment around not only how we build our AI products, but how do we make sure your data is segregated, properly trained, and then pushed out to your customers. So that is a big piece. But moving on, what does this truly mean? When we say we are ISO certified, we are 42001 certified, there are three key components to that. The first one is how do we detect bias? So a lot of these AI models, because you're kind of like handing over the power to the computer, to the compute, you want to make sure you're always detecting for any kind of bias. And this is very important because you don't want the model to steer towards outcomes that you don't want for your end users. So bias detection is the first one, which along with that comes your model drift. The model evolves every single day and multiple times during the day as it learns new information, as it learns new data fabrics from your customers. So how do we make sure that the model drift is secure and properly contained within your single dealer instance? That's important. And the third one is, you've been seeing a lot of AI-based attacks. These are just compounding. You see a lot more. You probably heard of Clawbot the last couple of weeks. A lot of this is coming. How do we detect any kind of deviation, any kind of attacks to the models that our customers use? That becomes very important. So that's the third piece. That's a big part of how we secure and build our responsible AI. With that, I'm privileged to invite two guests, Jim and David from Cochran Group. Please join me on the stage, and Shiva, please come over as well. So.
Go ahead. I'm on the end of it. Okay.
All right, Jim and David, thank you so much for being with us here today. Right off the bat, we're going to start off with this customer base. Yeah. The new age customer base, the digital nomads, they are entering this customer profile of yours now. But they're starting to earn money. They're starting to buy their own car, and their car buying experience is very different from how their parents bought their car. Now they're engaging with the models out there. How are you making sure that whatever data that they are sharing is being used responsibly by you? And I know you evaluated a whole bunch of solutions. You're new to Tekion. What gave you the confidence that Tekion is going to give you the tool sets to make sure that it's a responsible AI framework for you to use?
Yeah, so the thing that was very alluring and really got our attention out of the gate was your vertical integration, how you combined starting at a data level through the tech stack to application of automation, AI, things of that sort. So by having it into a completely vertical integration, it removes a lot of the bolt-ons. Our strategy long-term is not to have bolt-on strap-ons to the point where data can't flow. We create workflows that makes it very hard on our customers, on our team members, things of that sort. So the flexibility from your architecture that's built out instantly gives us something that to instantly apply to our customers, and a flexibility to apply in the future. As our customers evolve, it gives us that flexibility to evolve as well.
Great. Dave, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think too, data security is no longer an annual audit or an assessment. It's an everyday, every hour type of thing. So just creating that awareness with our team and our frontline teams that are handling that customer data, how crucial it is to handle it with the level of security that needs to be happened. So That was more of a change management aspect for us. It's not often you don't hear about a data breach somewhere, and it typically happens at a lower level in the organization. So just elevating the importance of the security of our customer data within our team. It becomes a daily talking point.
Great, thank you, David. Jason.
Sure. So great about vertical, how much of power it unleashes. I have two themes. I want to first talk about your customers, and then I want to talk about your internal employees. So let's start with your customers. What kind of, when they use AI, it unleashes your group to do a lot more campaigns. Customers come to you, and with the power of AI, I know it can like unleash you to do a lot more. How do you think about security? How do we think of privacy when it comes to all of this together?
Yeah, security and privacy for us is not a bolt-on. It's something that's grounded at the foundation of our entire technology strategy. So when you think about how we approach data, having data definitions, data owners, role-based access, what's the processes around accessing all of that, and then what are the audits, helps ground in the security framework for us to effectively manage it. But then when you start to apply that to AI models or any other third parties, it's what amount of data can we provide in a way that gives the value we're trying to strive for, or what's the problem we're solving for, instead of just opening up all of our customer data to train a model, right? So we don't want to, it's a balancing act between the security and a customer experience, to your point. So it's imperative that we don't enter into a weird bias where people get uncomfortable or there's some kind of data breach, but it's a way that it's meaningful and it gives the level of service and quality that we're trying to achieve with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. David, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think too, you have to incorporate our team members into that as well, right? We don't want our policies and procedures getting into that model that can then be accessed by customers unwillingly. So just, overall keeping or second guessing when is a good time to put something in a prompt or upload something into the language model. You just have to be very cautious about that.
Great segue into my next question. So you can do a lot more, and your employees can do a lot more with the power that's given to them. How do you make sure internally you have the right guardrails? You're making sure the intended actions come out, but you're also controlling access around different ways. How are you thinking about from a trust and security standpoint?
Yeah, so it's not a technology problem. It's more of a behavioral and governance problem. So making sure that we educate our team members on what's approved tools, what's the approved way to engage with those tools, and then on the flip side of that coin is making sure there's education and training around what data to use, how to use the data, and application of those tools. So because we know people are going to use AI tools if we don't give it to them. So it's doing it in a way that's controlled, and we can help educate them to apply it. Otherwise, you turn into having shadow AI, and we don't want any of that. So it's more of a controlled behavior approach.
Yeah, and we want our team using AI, right? If it's gonna leverage our ability to provide a better experience for our customer, why wouldn't you use it?
Yep.
But like Jim's point, there needs to be education around what are the do's and what are the don'ts. And we've done some high level training on just prompt engineering. The first time I ever used GPT was like, hey, write this better. And as I learned more and was educated more, partly thanks to Jim, what prompt is going to best set you up for success that gives the customer the best message. Okay. So keeping the security mindset with the proper training is a perfect match.
Great. We love hearing this from our customers. Right? It's great. Shiva, do you want to take the next one?
It's interesting because if you look at Teja's questions, they were all around trust, security, guardrails. There's a reason why he's a CISO and I'm not, right? I only speak about models and stuff. But Dave, I'm going to double click on one of the points that you made, which is you used GPT the first time to read write. That's actually the most widely used use case across the board. People just take a text that they have, an email that they want to send, shove it in on a GPT and say read write. But what they don't realize is when they do that, they've given away a lot of information to these open source models about not just them, but whoever it is that they're trying to reach out to. So when you guys evaluate a solution, and which I know you're getting bombarded with AI solutions all the time, what questions do you ask yourself before deciding, okay, this is safe enough to give it to my employees and customers? Well, this one's not, so I'm going to step back.
Yeah, I think, for Jim, it's all about the safety and security. For me, in operations, it's about speed and accuracy. So when a customer does engage with us, and no matter which way they do, whether it's on the phone, via text, or on our website, right, can we quickly identify what they're reaching out for, use our system and our data to provide that answer, and give them the accurate answer? Right? Nobody wants to, text in for a service appointment and get a link to get their car appraised. But if they do text in for a service appointment, we want to be able to provide that solution. And if they are interested in getting their car appraised, it's a seamless transition from that point as well.
Yeah, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, from a cyber perspective, the immediate questions when we're vetting any vendor, do you have a SOC 2? Very rarely, no one has ISO 27001. That's a fringe case. The fact that you guys have both, my hat's off to you. I mean, that's a significant amount of work to validate, to architect, and to land that. So it's huge, and it cuts through a lot of the questions. If they don't have a SOC 2, then we probably have 50 questions. It's all about the type of data they're using, that they're accessing of ours. How are they storing it on their side? Things of that sort. So it just it goes down a rabbit hole. So having there's the level of credentials like what you guys have achieved, I think, just cuts through a lot of the unrest that I would have trying to vet a solution.
Great. I'm glad, it so happened that you both sat on this side and we both sat on this side. And as you take care of all the security and certifications for us, we can start thinking about all the different use cases we can go after. David, another point that you mentioned that I want to double down on is you want to enable your employees to use all these solutions and give them the tools that they need to do their job more efficiently. How do you think about data being all over the place because of this? How are you thinking of bringing it all together? Because at the end of the day, that's what's required to provide value with AI.
Yeah, I think you have to look, if you look at our organization as a whole, right? Our owner, Rob, promotes innovation, promotes challenging the norm. So that's why we're 18 months into experimenting with AI, and we learned a lot of lessons, some the hard way, but just what we were doing 18 months ago and what we're going to do in the next 18 months is going to be a huge growth curve for us. And part of that is our team, right? We want our team to experiment, and like I said earlier, we want our team to provide and leverage solutions that give our customers the best solutions to give our team members the best solutions to our customers. So with the data is crucial, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about more data in a second, but the data is crucial. Having access to the data, having the data be accurate, but then being able to access that data in a timely manner and providing an accurate response back to the customer. So in my mind, it all needs to align. What we've learned over the last 18 months is it's currently in a siloed environment. There's different data sets, there's different solutions for different problems, and that's what we're looking to simplify ultimately in the event of getting a better customer experience.
Great. One last question. I'm going to say this team asking to this team. As the people thinking of what AI products to adopt, how to put the use cases out there, what can we do to help the ones who are keeping us honest, the security experts of the world, from the get-go?
Yeah, for me, it's validating how you access our data, how you're good stewards of our data, and then ways for both of us to take advantage of it. Through your vertical integration, we have built an ecosystem outside of our current DMS that allows us to do reporting, automation. We're dabbling with varying degrees of AI, but we want to do it in a way where with Tekion, the more we can keep it native to Tekion, so we're not having to recreate stuff that you guys have is important. So educating us, helping us, listening to us what we're trying to achieve, and then how can we work together on it? Because at the end game in 3 or 5 years from now, it's going to be a hybrid architecture where we have agents inside of Tekion. There's going to be agents that we built. There's going to be other third-party agents. So how do you create an ecosystem with the proper security and control that allows data to flow horizontally better for our team members and then vertically for our customers as well?
Yeah. We were speaking about this in one of our calls. When you evaluate a product, how are you how are you thinking about ROI? How do you know this is the one for you guys?
Yeah, so ultimately it has to solve a problem. But when we look at piloting something, there's two things that we do. We look at the team that's going to be using it and the leader that's going to be driving the change. And if we don't have a team that's bought into our culture and our vision for innovation and customer experience, it's not a consideration for us. And while we like to sit up here and say, we have that across all of our 30 plus stores, we know that's not the reality. So the ROI has to solve a problem. It has to solve a problem fast. And it has to be a good partner that's going to take our feedback, listen to our challenges, and work with us in solving them. So innovation, culture, speed to return on investment for us.
Great. So what is it, do you think, builders don't still get it from understanding the customer base? Especially with that many rooftops, you're dealing with different OEMs, different kind of customer profiles. What is it that you think we wish we knew better when we were building these products for you guys?
Yeah, and Jim said data, I think, 4 times in his last answer, and that's really what it is. But it's data cleanliness, right? I talk to our sales teams, and I say, hey, our CRM it's not a source of truth. It's a reflection of behavior, right? Missing data points, incorrect emails, no addresses, things like that. If we don't have clean data from our customer records, we're not going to be successful in leveraging AI to provide solutions to those customers. So we've been really on a mission over the last 6 to 8 months on finding out where our data leaks are, not leaks as in externally, but in capturing correct data, and why are we taking good data and replacing it with bad data, right? Everyone who works inside a dealership is dealing with the same struggle. So the faster we can get our customer data cleaner, the faster we can move into AI. And then having less sources of data input for those customer records, where today we have several third parties, several OEMs pushing data into our core. If we have one source for data input, I think our data is going to be much more cleaner. So if you can help us with required fields, recognizing when an email is not valid, or challenging somebody, hey, you're taking out a phone number, why? Use the opt-out instead. Things like that, because our customer data is so valuable when it comes to our organization and our outreach and marketing efforts. And if you don't have good data, you're not going to have a good return.
Great. You said it really well. Jim, do you want to add to that?
Oh, yeah, outside of using the word leak, I think I physically cringed when you used it.
Yeah, my heart skipped a beat.
It's not what a CIO wants to hear. Yes.
I agree with everything that Davey said. But when it comes to just data hygiene, so making sure that we have transparency, so our team members know what data and where it resides. And then it's more about standardization. How do we make sure that we've gone through and created defined processes on how to access and leverage that data, and then ultimately the accountability of that data. So to the point of data cleanliness, and we now have processes where that's raised up at senior leadership level on fringe cases around where's the dirty data coming from, and helping educate and a varying degree of public shaming as well, just to make sure that we get better in how we manage our data sets.
Great. You both touched on a lot of important topics. We discussed this as you were evaluating our platform. The amount of investment that goes into data cleansing, all the way from customer name files and dedupe. No one talks about it on stage when you talk about AI, but that is the thing we all need to be talking about. Data is the one powering AI, but context, you spoke about not having bolt-ons, a single data source. That comes with having the context so that you drive the intelligence and all of it around the AI products. We at Tekion typically build our AI products very closely in collaboration with our customers. When we signed Cochran, I was so glad that we found one more partner. And when I met you guys, I knew you were going to be our pilot customers for a lot of the AI products where we build it together. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to the partnership.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let's keep doing this.
Great.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.